You are late. And with each and every second, the time's running out. You need to understand what happened with the market recently. You need to position yourself for the easiest, safest money, as far as they can be safe in crypto market, of your life. Critical market structure change has happened. You have to take advantage of it and you have to act currently. I will uncover what is happening with Bitcoin currently, what will be happening moving further, and where you should actually be positioning yourself. And I will give you an exact framework for the altcoins that are going to go up quite soon, as well as the altcoin picks. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss this type of content moving further, and watch till the end. Without further ado, let's start. Current situation with Bitcoin, we pumped through the night, Sunday to Monday, at least my night, right? You time, Dubai time, 64.6k, and right now we are correcting. You might say that we are correcting heavily as we already lost 1,000 points. And here we essentially printed a very clear reversal pattern for us actually to go down. Any technical traders, any technical people will actually tell you that we printed a very nice reversal pattern right here, and it kind of shows us and tells us that yeah, maybe we actually might be going back to the bottom of this range, back on printing new lower high and maybe $40,000 and things like that. I don't think so. I've been quite consistent through the last several weeks. We're going to $75,000. I can also tell you that it seems like alt season has actually started last week on 18th of September with the announcement of rate cuts, 50 basis points. Scenarios that I'm seeing for BTC currently is for us to essentially have a correction to 61.5, somewhere around this range, right? 61.3, and surge back up from there. Please also note that when we were here for all this movement, I constantly told you 61 is the key level. We need to break through 61k. We broke through it, and currently we're actually using it as support. And I am viewing from my point of view that worst case scenario here is that we are going to 61k. Personally, I don't think so. I think what is happening currently is market is playing with you to make sure that you will close your longs, to make sure you will exit the market, to make sure you will reposition from risk on place to risk off place. I do believe this is something that is happening currently. And this is also something that we can see on the chart of SUI, because SUI is fooling each and every market participants. I know people that were longing it since 0.6 and they closed at 0.69 because they thought we are going on to correction. And see what are they printing on the chart. Through each and every movement they are printing corrections to make sure that people will actually exit, to make sure that people will get scared. I also know people that were holding since 0.6, they were holding the long and they closed around 0.2 at this correction because they thought that we are finally going down, and we just went up. And the pattern is essentially the same. Yes, we might have a longer time frame here to cool off and things like that, but a very interesting thing is that currently it's quite hard to actually be buying SUI or long in SUI at these levels. You kind of don't want to, you think, oh, we're probably going to the correction, things like that. Even when I created my video on SUI, I think we were at $1.4 and people said, yeah, but I know that the asset should cool off, it should go down, right? How was your cool off? Maybe you even close some longs at this level. We were at 1.6, and I tend to assume that essentially we will continue to move further. SUI is a very interesting asset by themselves because the market makers of SUI are definitely playing a different game. And if you are essentially this proponent that this is just a local pump in the range and we are going back to the bottom of the range and things like that, will market makers of SUI actually pump this thing this further if they would think that the market is reversing? I would say they are one of the best market makers out there because through each and every pumpage of the market, we constantly seen SUI pumping the first. And it's a very important mark because, as mentioned, they are gathering liquidity from scared market and people are buying into green candles because people just love to buy into green candles. This is essentially one of the narratives. The second narratives, market is going down, so what? We are printing new all-time low from here. What is the reason for that? Just to give you the option to buy the lower prices? Because now you already know that we were at these prices, I didn't buy it, went up 4x, so currently I should probably be buying, right? I don't think that something like this will be happening. As mentioned, I think we are going to $65,000. However, something I want to specifically discuss is this tweet from Ansem. Your only job is to find the alts leaving S1 and not sell in the middle of S2. And this is exactly something that we were discussing on the market check in the private Discord today on Patreon, given several altcoin picks as well. You can find, if you would like to join, you can find the link to Patreon in the description under this video. So it's essentially the structure for how the assets are moving. And currently we can definitely see that some assets, they are already in S2. Some of them, they might be closer to the end, right? However, some assets, they're still in S1. And I would want to show you the exact reversal patterns today and share several altcoin picks strictly based on the charts that I think will be reversing quite nicely quite soon. I think you should just focus your attention on this reversal pattern and you will have a very clear goals and clear setups in terms of entering certain assets at this stage, even in terms of leverage trading, because I definitely entered some longs today myself. Exactly what was discussed in the market check in private Discord today, plus list of alts. SUI seem to be further in S2 right now, same as Tau, for example. There are some narratives that lagging end of S1 like gaming that should be catching up soon. Let's actually check out on the chart what I exactly do mean here. So SUI, for example, SUI is one of the most performing altcoins, if not even the most performing altcoins at this stage. 2.5x's, it's actually 3.5x's since the bottom. None of the alts actually showed this type of performance recently. Partially it was connected with the fact that SUI was sold heavily due to the jump trading situation right here. However, nevertheless, it definitely is showing some strengths, and as mentioned, I've been watching after this instrument since the December 2023. SUI market makers always do pump SUI the first in the next market reversal, in the next market pump. Quite a nice strategy because, as mentioned, they're gathering liquidity from scared market into their asset. Something that pumped up like crazy recently, and you also can see that it does not give you the options. This is the chart that will be present on all of the altcoins very soon, but I do think sooner or later people will essentially figure this out, because what you have to understand, these things, and these are people closing generational longs that they essentially entered at the bottoms. The longs that they can easily just hold through the whole cycle and capitalize heavily. And this is what market is actually doing to you. This is just crazy to see this type of price action and see this thing happening. We see the same dump actually happening on Tau, and Tau since 150. You can even say that it's outperforming SUI, which is crazy. Tau is kind of your main coin in the whole AI narrative. It should be front running the AI narrative, and we already are seeing certain movements on AI low caps, which is very important. It's very important to understand the current rotations in the marketplace for yourself as well. So it was SUI, or it still is SUI, because I do think that SUI meme coins, they definitely still have another leg up. So we should have another leg up on SUI, and then SUI will start to consolidate finally. We will be in the risk on environment, or at least more risk on environment in the market that we are in currently, and SUI memes should really run, because thus far what are they doing? They're just essentially showing the same type of movement as SUI, which means fear in the asset holders, and which means that there's not a lot of liquidity coming from other ecosystems into SUI meme coins at this stage, right? Then it seems like next rotation will be the AI. For something like Tau, it started already, but this is the reason I'm telling you that you don't have a lot of time. The time is running out. You need to be quick with these rotations. There are a range of low caps. One of them is, for example, NQAI, the low cap that I'm holding since the 1st of January of 2024, right? It's already showing some movement. I think it's already still at 3x from the exact bottoms. So it pretty much showing the exact movements as Tau, but it should outperform Tau as a range of lower caps AI altcoins. So probably you might actually be able to catch this wave as well. Following this chart, do you think we're getting more correction here, or we're just going straight up exactly the way that we've essentially done in the previous steps? I would say that we might be just seeing a bit more of consolidation, but it definitely looks like we are in the alt season currently. Just look at this Bitcoin dominance. It started to trend down heavily. We topped at 58.7 and we already are at 57.65. This is your chart of Bitcoin dominance at this stage. It's coming to this global support, and we will see if we will essentially be seeing a reaction from this level right here. You might say that we're already getting certain reaction from this level because it's essentially a level of high liquidity out there as well. But it's a very, very interesting situation on the marketplace currently, right? And coming back to the altcoins and coming back to our reversal patterns, Mave is actually something that I longed this morning. So you might say that these reversal patterns, they are kind of too obvious, right? What you can see on this chart is a textbook reversal pattern. This is something that technical analysts are essentially learning the first, right? Kind of might say that it's like reversed head and shoulders, right? With shoulder, head, and other shoulder. And that we should be reversing from here. And you, like on most of these assets, you have a very, very nice setup for longs currently at this stage. Might we see certain correction? Might we not? I'm not sure at this stage. I'm just playing my bets right here. And what's interesting is that most of the charts, what are they showing as well, is that we had a huge resistance level right here on most of these assets, right? This range. And what we've seen is that we tried to pump to this resistance level and we got a reaction. We got a dump from this level, which means that this dump, liquidity out of this dump is already taken. It already worked through. Therefore, we should be moving higher and do not have a lot of resistance at this level. Just look at the chart of Mave protocol, for example. Exactly the same situation. This chart is just printed a bit better. It's almost like textbook, right? So you're seeing here the same type of lows. Low number 1, low number 2, and low number 3. You can also argue that this is a head and shoulders and that we should be essentially reversed head and shoulders, right? A default newbie pattern. And you can also see that we kind of have the same situation right here. We went through this resistance area, we received a reaction right here, and we dumped heavily. Therefore, we should not have a lot of resistance right here and right here as well. And we should be going quite high from these levels as well, because we kind of tested this level. You might say that on Mavia, this level might show certain resistance here, but it's not a very, very strong level because we're touching it here. Like this level is definitely stronger, this one. And from this level, we already received a reaction. All this correction is essentially a reaction to us tapping into these resistance levels. Do you understand what is happening? Do you understand what the charts of altcoins are essentially telling you? They all have the same similar type of pattern here, and the only difference is that on something like Sui, the pattern had already played out. Something like Tau as well. They are already right here. They're already at these levels, right? But Heroes of Meme, for example, Maverick Protocol, they are still at the start. And we've seen this pattern playing out on Sui and Tau and some other alts as well. There is, in general, there is no reason for these things not to repeat this pattern as well. This is the huge rotation game that we are at the edge of. And your goal currently is to be able to rotate from one narrative to another, from alt that you are seeing that is following the same pattern, to rotate your assets into the alt that are at the start of this asset. This is exactly what Ansem is saying. Your only job is to find the alts leaving S1 and not sell in the middle of S2. I would argue that Mave is essentially alt that's leaving S1. It's not confirmed currently. It's not confirmed 100% currently at this stage, but you definitely can see it in the chart. And the charts are very, very similar. And these are projects from two different narratives. They don't have any connections to each other. And the bunch of charts in the marketplace, they essentially look like this currently. This is the only thing that you essentially need to follow currently at this stage. Especially if your asset is in the narrative that essentially is performing already. So let's say your narrative is in AI narrative and you've seen Tau, for example, already breaking out and being somewhere in the middle of S2, right? This is the time to be positioning yourself in smaller cap assets in the same narrative, because if the largest first mover had moved already, this means that others will follow quite soon. 100%. And the same thing with some other narratives as well, because what do we have? We have AI, we have gaming, we have deepin, we have layer ones, which is Sui essentially. Mavia is in gaming. I would expect them to essentially start the movement quite soon. We can check out IMX. Do you see the same type of pattern? It's just crazy, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Exactly. And it's already breaking out. Let's look at Mavia. Same thing. Same exact thing right here. The only difference is that in connection to Mavia, IMX is already somewhere here. You can see it has done 2x from the bottoms. Mavia only did 50% from the bottoms. So they did the 2x. So it's just crazy to see. These charts, they are just identical. You have the first movers moving already. You had a reaction from this resistance level. Look at these charts. Look how similar they are. We have this resistance level on all of the charts that I'm showing to you, on all of the alts. We got this reaction. We dumped heavily. We printed a new low. We should not be receiving the new reaction. And you can see we are easily going through this level of resistance. We are turning it back into support and we are just surging higher. And this is first mover, which means that the whole category of this asset will be following this asset. These are almost free money at this stage. Almost free money. What you have to do is just to rotate properly to see this in the charts and buy the assets that did not start the movement like this yet. And this is the main thing in the category. This is, well, let's actually check out BEAM as well. Let's just compare how BEAM is doing in comparison to IMX. Can you see that IMX is actually way further on its chart in comparison to BEAM? It's just crazy to be showing you these things. Let me show you this one more time. You can see we have this level, right? And IMX is already higher than this level by 10%, right? The reason for that is because market is scared currently. Market still wants to only be buying into this like safer assets, but it's not how you make money. You make money by buying assets that are not that safe, essentially, right? And you might say that essentially this is this level, right? And 10% from here is probably somewhere here. So IMX in connection to BEAM, right here at this level currently, right? So you have this movement that BEAM should repeat of 30%. These are like free money, and imagine you're essentially entering loans at this level. It's almost like you're entering like 5x loan, right? And you have like a 3x loan on top in terms of liquidation, because you can be sure that it will essentially reach this level, which will be 30% higher, and that your liquidation will even be further. However, I would say that the higher skill would actually be able to do this thing on leverage. So this is my overview. The framework is easy. You check out the coins that pushed through these levels already. First movers, we have IMX, we have Tau, we have SUI as well. You just look at the better place, like Mavia and IMX, for example. You see that it's not yet at that levels, and you either buy on spot or you just loan this thing, and you at least wait till it will reach the levels of IMX, because this rotation will come, and then you can repeat, rinse and repeat, either with the coins in other narratives that are lagging, or the coins with the same narrative that are just of the lower market cap, because liquidity will eventually come to them as well, because other people in the marketplace will be doing the same thing to capitalize on this opportunity. Let me know if you actually have any questions at this stage about this process and about this overview. I think we are at the start of something big on this market. Good times are ahead of us. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Bye bye.